Chapter: The Dawn in Russia.
The dawn will begin for everyone in Russia when each person lives better materially. The economy as a whole will improve, and each person will be better off. The entire material environment depends on man's spirit and consciousness.
So be it. There's no sense to the sages' philosophies when you're hungry and naked.
You need to make sense of why all this is happening. Each person does so for himself. Don't look for others to blame. Only changes in yourself will change everything around you, including your well-being. I agree with you. People are not going to be able to believe it all right away. But Anastasia did say we have to do without admonitions. We simply have to show people, and she has. Now, what she has foreordained must be carried out. In 3 years, Siberia's settlements, large and small, forgotten and abandoned settlements where nobody remains but old people whose children make no effort to visit, will become many times richer. Life will go into full swing, and many children will return. Furthermore, she's going to offer much more. She will reveal many secrets and restore the primary source's knowledge and people's abilities. Russia will be the richest country. She will do this in order to prove that spirituality and knowledge of the primary sources are more important than technocracy's vain attempts. A new dawn will rise from Russia over the whole earth.
What do I have to do for this to happen?
Reveal the first secret my granddaughter disclosed to you. Tell in your book how healing oil needs to be obtained from the cedar nut. Conceal nothing.
Everything inside me suddenly rebelled so my breath caught in my throat. Unable to sit still, I jumped up. Why? Why should I suddenly do this? For everyone, for free. Any normal person will take me for an idiot. I organized an expedition and invested everything I had in it. Now my firm is ruined. Anastasia asked me to write a book, and I did. Now we're quits. Your aspirations and philosophy are hard for me to understand. I'm just setting them out since I promised Anastasia I would. Now about the oil, all that's clear to me. Now I know how much can be had for it. I'm not going to give the oil technology away to anyone. I'll put together a little money from the books and start producing it myself. I have to recover everything. Get back my ship and my firm. Buy a laptop so I can type the next book. I don't have a home now. I have nowhere to live. I want to buy a house trailer. And as I get rich, I want to erect a monument to Russian officers who are still alive, but whose souls have been mortally wounded. We have torn their soul asunder with our callousness at different times, and people have defiled their honor and conscience. The very people for whom the officers of all times have gone into battle. While you're there sitting peacefully in the forest, people here are dying. There are plenty of different spiritual people around. All they talk about is spirituality, but they don't really want to do anything. Now I will at least do something, but to give it away just like that to everyone, not on your life.
Anastasia did set aside an income for you. I know 3% from oil sales.
What are those miserable 3% to me when you can get 300 for the oil? I know world prices now, and what they sell is many times weaker in healing power. I've checked it out. They don't know the right way to extract it. Now I alone know. Everything she said has been confirmed. There are no analogues to it in the world for healing power, but only if everything is done correctly. Science confirms this as well. Pallas said it can restore youth. Now give it up, just like that. You've found yourself a patsy. I've dug through so much literature and sent people to the archives to confirm what she said. And they did. Lots of money went for that, too.
You checked it all out because you couldn't believe Anastasia right away. You wasted money and time due to your lack of faith.
Yes, I did check it out. That's what had to be done. But now I'm not going to be a fool. Dawn for everyone. Well, dawn is just great, but at dawn I'll still be a fool. I wrote the book. All the way she asked. I remember her repeating, "Hide nothing. Not the bad, not the good. Swallow your pride. Don't be afraid to be ridiculous and misunderstood. I didn't hide anything, and what came of it? I come across like a complete idiot in it. People tell me that to my face, that I have no spirit. There's so much I don't understand. I'm uncouth and coarse. A 13-year-old girl from Kolomna even wrote me a letter. You can't do that, she said. One woman came from Perm and said right on my doorstep, I want to look at what Anastasia found in him. Hide nothing, not the good, not the bad. Swallow your pride. Don't be afraid to be ridiculous and misunderstood. She did know everything. She came out well in the book. That's what people say. But what about me? And all because of her. If it weren't for the baby, I'd let her worry about these things. Just think. I wrote everything sincerely, as she requested, and people say to me, you're insensitive and a coward. Of course, I'm a complete idiot. I did this to myself. I obeyed her. I wrote things about myself that I'll never live down to the end of my days, and when I die, everyone is going to have a good laugh. This book has turned out to have a life of its own. It will outlive me. Even if I myself stop printing it, what's the good of that? They're already putting out underground print runs. They're trying to photocopy it. All of a sudden, I stopped myself short after glancing at the old man. A teardrop was slowly rolling from his eye. I sat down beside him. He looked down in silence, and then he spoke.
Understand, Vladimir, my granddaughter Anastasia can foresee a lot. She wanted nothing for herself, neither fame nor income. She took on some of the fame, subjected herself to danger, but saved you. And the fact that you look the way you do in the book is her doing, that's for sure. But by this she didn't demean you. She saved you. By taking on herself the bulk of the dark forces all by herself. And you, in response to her, the pain of misunderstanding and irritation. Think about it. Is it easy for a woman who creates merely out of love to withstand that?
What kind of love is it that makes a fool of her beloved?
He who people call a fool is not a fool, but he who takes flattery for truth is. Think. How would you like people to regard you? Above everyone else, very intelligent? All that could have been done in the first book. But then pride and ego would have destroyed you. Few even of the enlightened have been able to resist these sins. Pride creates an unnatural image of a person, and it overshadows the living soul. This is why past philosophers and present-day geniuses can create so little. Having merely made the first stroke in the grip of ego, they lose what was given them to begin with. But my granddaughter had the good sense to shield herself from the flattery and admiration that breed pride. They can't get you now. She is saving you from many other misfortunes. She is protecting both your spirit and your flesh. You will write 9 sincere books. The land of the dimension of love will begin to shine. And then, when you have crossed the T's in the 9th book, you will be able to understand who you are.
And what is that? You can't tell me now?
Who you are right now isn't hard to say. You are who you are right now. You are what you feel yourself to be. Anastasia may know who you will become, and she will wait, living each instant with love. The fact that people sitting in their apartments tell you you're a coward, that's nothing. You must take it with humour. Advise them to go into the taiga for 3 days without gear. Sleep with a bear in a den. To make it complete, take along a lunatic. Isn't that exactly what Anastasia seemed to you to be at first?
Yes, more or less.
Let the critic try to sleep with his own lunatic companion in the forest depths, to the howling of wolves. Do you think he could?
The old man asked slyly. Suddenly, when I saw the picture he'd drawn, I started laughing. The old man and I laughed together. Then I asked him, can Anastasia hear what we said?
She'll find out about all your doings.
Then tell her not to worry. I'll explain to everyone how to extract the healing oil from the cedar.
Fine. I'll tell her. Do you remember everything you heard from Anastasia about the oil?
Yes, I think I do.
Then repeat it.
Chapter: How to extract healing oil from the cedar tree.
Basically, it's not that hard. We have modern technology too. I'm not going to set it out. But there are some nuances that aren't quite the usual, and I will talk about them. When you collect the cones, you must not strike the cedar with mallets or logs, the way gatherers do today. This reduces the oil's healing power drastically. It is essential that you use only those cones the cedar itself relinquishes. They fall in the wind, and you can knock them down with your voice, as Anastasia does. They have to be picked up off the ground by people who are not unkind, and it's good when a child's hand picks up the cone. Generally speaking, all that follows needs to be done with goodwill and with light intentions. People like this can now be found in Siberian villages, Anastasia told me. What significance this has is hard to say. However, while the Bible also says that King Solomon sought people who knew how to chop down trees, it does not say how these people differed from ordinary people. The nuts obtained after the cones are shelled have to be pressed for oil within 3 months. After that, the quality deteriorates drastically. During the pressing, the kernels must not touch metal. The oil should not touch metal at all. Its healing properties are immeasurable. It can be used as a food, added to salads, or you can take a spoonful a day, preferably at sunrise, but even in the afternoon. In the light of day, not at night, that's the main thing. Have you thought that people might be offered fake oil?
You and I are going to erect a barrier to fakes right now, and we'll earn your percentage.
How will we do that?
You have to think you're an entrepreneur.
I used to be, but now it's not clear who I am.
Let's think this through together. You correct me if anything's wrong.
All right.
The final product should be verified with instruments by those capable of verifying, doctors, scientists, specialists, and so on.
Yes, that's right. They can issue a certificate.
But the instruments might not catch everything. There also needs to be a tasting.
Possibly. Tasters determine wine quality. Nothing can replace them, but wine tasters know very little how wines taste. They have their excellent sense of smell for both aroma and taste. But who is going to verify the oil with the tasting?
You should.
But how am I going to do that? I've only eaten ordinary oil. When we made it, we didn't follow the technology Anastasia said to. Not only that, I smoke.
You shouldn't smoke or drink alcohol for 3 days before you're going to test the oil, or eat meat or fats, or talk to anyone for 3 days. Then you'll try it and be able to determine by its taste whether it's good or fake.
What do I compare it to?
With this here.
The old man took a wooden stick approximately 2 fingers thick out of his canvas bag. Another stick poked out of one end, acting as a stopper.
This is genuine oil. Try it. You won't confuse the taste with anything else. But first, let me try to drive out the smoking and other things that have built up in you.
What do you mean, drive out? The way Anastasia did?
Yes, more or less.
But she said that only the person who loves is capable of removing pains in the person, loved with a ray of love, and warmed his body so that his feet even perspire.
With a ray of love. That's all correct.
But you can't love me the way she does.
But I love my granddaughter. Let's try.
Okay, let's try. The old man squinted and began staring at me without blinking. Warmth flooded my body, only it was much weaker than from Anastasia's gaze. It wasn't working for him, but he kept trying, so hard that his hands shook. My body warmed up a little, but only a little. The old man still wouldn't give up, and I waited. All of a sudden, my feet started to perspire, and there was a freshness in my head and smells. I could pick up the smells in the air.
Oof! It worked. Now give me your hand.
The old man said wearily, resting his elbows on the back of the bench. He opened the stick stopper and poured the cedar oil into my palm from the thicker stick. I licked it off, and a pleasant warmth began to run over my palate and in my mouth. And all of a sudden I smelled the scent of cedar. It would be hard to confuse it with anything else.
Will you remember now?
Yes. What's so hard about it? Once I ate a potato in a monastery. I remembered that for a long time. 27 years later, I still remembered its taste. But how will people know that it's been verified, that it's genuine oil, and the price for it is too high? For a single gram of plain oil diluted with something they charge 30,000. I've seen it myself, in imported packaging. For that kind of money, all kinds of people would freely go for fakes.
Yes, money is running the show right now. We need to give this some thought.
There, you see, a dead end.
Anastasia said that this money could be turned to good. Let's try to think along those lines.
People have long given thought, for example, how to ensure vodka from fakes. But they change labels and stoppers. They come up with excess stamps, and nothing comes of it. They've always sold the surrogate, and they always will. Today, you can Photoshop any stamp.
Can you print money too?
Money is a little harder.
So let's do this. Let's glue money to the reverse of the bottle like labels, so those wimpy pieces of paper work for the good.
What do you mean, glue money? What nonsense is this?
Give me a bill, please, some kind of money.
I handed him a 1,000-ruble note.
There you are, it's all clear. You take the bills, tear them in half, glue one half to the box or something else, hide the other. You can think of where, or put it in your bank for safekeeping. The two halves, they are, you see, have identical numbers, and anyone who wants to verify the oil's authenticity can check his number.
Well, Grandad, you have a good head on your shoulders. There's no better protection against fakes. You're amazing. He burst out laughing, and through his laughter said,
Then give me a percentage, a kickback.
A percentage? What percentage? How much do you want?
I want everything to be good. Besides the 3%, take another one from the sale for yourself, on the packaged oil, and give it out for free to those you believe need to have it. Let it be a present to people from me and you.
All right, I'll take it. You came up with some wonderful ideas. You're amazing.
Wonderful. That means Anastasia will be happy for us. Otherwise, my father always considers me lazy. But you think I'm amazing. Is that right?
Yes, amazing. We laughed again. Tell Anastasia that you could have been an excellent entrepreneur.
Really? For sure?
For sure, you could have been a new Russian, and how?
Then I will tell Anastasia. I will also tell her about how you revealed everything about the oil to people. You won't regret revealing it to everyone?
What's there to regret? It's probably a whole lot of bother. I'll write the third book quickly, as I promised, and then I'll go back into business and trade, or something else normal.
Chapter, the title.
I decided to tell Anastasia's grandfather about his new assistants. Right now, a lot of articles are being written about Anastasia. Both scientists and religious associations are talking about her. They each interpret her a little differently. One creative collective, very spiritual and tactful people, suggested that I contract with them. They pay me to hand over the exclusive right to publicize and comment on Anastasia's statements in the media. I agreed.
For how much did you agree to sell them, Anastasia, Vladimir?
The import of his question and its tone had a rather unpleasant effect on me. What do you mean, sell? I told them more about Anastasia than was written in the book. I told spiritual people so that they could comment independently and explain her statements. They want to meet with her too. They're even prepared to finance an expedition themselves. I agreed. What's bad about that? Agreed. What's bad? The old man was silent. Without waiting for the old man to speak, I added, the fact that they offered me money for the exclusive rights, that's how it's done here. Services are rendered for payment. They will get more from their publications. The old man was silent a little longer, his head bowed, and then, as if thinking out loud, he began to speak.
You mean you, being enterprising, sold Anastasia, and after deciding that only they were the most spiritual and competent in the world, they bought her.
You put it so oddly. What did I do ultimately that was so bad?
Tell me, Vladimir, did it ever occur to you that or those spiritual people to ask, find out, or understand with whom Anastasia herself might want to speak, and when? Do people visit you without your consent. After all, she has never invited any of them to visit.
If she doesn't want to see them, she doesn't have to. She didn't sign the agreement.
But you did. She was prepared to reveal what she knows to everyone, but she has the right to choose the means of communication herself. If she chose a book in your language, who has the right to dictate or demand anything else? She made her choice, but everyone wants to change it, and for very clear ends. She won't talk to people who have set themselves above everyone else because she knows that their ego will distort the truth sacred to her, turn it around and suit it to themselves.
Why paint it all in such a black light in advance? These people are interested in many teachings. They are very spiritual.
They've decided that they are the most spiritual of all. Spiritual egoism crowns the most moral sin, pride.
I was annoyed with myself, but didn't understand why. I hadn't received the money for the agreement yet, so I could break it. But a little while later, once again, seeing nothing harmful in it, I signed an agreement with the spiritual center, giving them exclusive rights to my own interviews. Once again, their tact and spiritual knowledge had seduced me, especially since the agreement concerned only me, and I had the right to dispose of myself. Nevertheless, once again both they and I had fallen into a trap, and once again it came out that I had indirectly sold Anastasia and they had bought her. This time it wasn't Anastasia's grandfather, but a Moscow reporter who read the agreement and said indignantly,
"You fool! You're selling Anastasia cheap. Read the contract closely and give it careful thought. You've ceded to others the right unilaterally to interpret everything connected with Anastasia and use it on the most powerful information channel as they see fit. At the same time, you've given up your own chance to protest their opinion, no matter what it is."
It's difficult to determine the truth of this. Instead, I'll cite here a few provisions from this contract.
1. Subject of the agreement. 1.1. The author transfers exclusive rights to the video filming of himself, as well as the use of other video materials connected directly or indirectly with the production of the Anastasia television video programs, henceforth, the program. Said transfer of rights to the executor shall extend to all the countries of the world. 1.2. The executor is obligated, using his own financial means, to produce 3 programs 30 to 40 minutes in length apiece on professional Betacam carriers in the amount of 1 apiece. 1.3. With the consent and understanding of the situation by the author and executor, any interaction with video or film studios, television, including cable television, as well as any video filming on any equipment, as well as the use of video materials on this topic, shall be carried out only and exclusively by the executor. The author does not have the right, as long as the agreement is in effect, to give video interviews or produce any video materials that utilize directly or indirectly the same concepts and terms as in the programs.
In general, analyzing the events connected with the writing, publication, and distribution of Anastasia, I concluded that those who call themselves strongly spiritual have a flip side, which they themselves fear, and which spurs them to constantly assert and allude to their spirituality. They are probably afraid people will see their flip side. It's simpler with entrepreneurs. Their actions and aspirations are more open, less veiled, and consequently more honest, both to themselves and those around them, society in general. I may be wrong, but you can't deny the following facts. The Anastasia text was typed by 3 Moscow students. They had no hope of any speedy remuneration for their labor. They never talked about anything spiritual at all. The director of Moscow Printing Press number 11, retired officer G.V. Grutsia, published the book at his own expense. The print run was small and promised only losses. Grutsia, an entrepreneur, never spoke of anything spiritual either. The next print run was paid for by Nikitin, the director of a Moscow commercial firm, but later became clear that he did not sell the books he printed. He gave me most of the print run to sell and set no due date for repayment. He didn't talk about anything spiritual either. It was later that the spiritual people got in on the act and surreptitiously released a print run of 40,000 copies. When their spiritual behavior came to light, they talked about their spirituality and desire to create something light. They promised to pay royalties. They're still promising to this day. This is not an isolated incident. In general, spiritual folk have a great disregard for payments, especially when they owe them. As for the transfer of exclusive rights, I decided to declare on the pages of this book, quote, I will not transfer the exclusive right to the interpretation of Anastasia's statements to anyone ever again. If anyone declares his privilege, people should know that I did not give it voluntarily. Why do I say voluntarily? Soon after, threats from anonymous sources came showering down on the Moscow journalist who helped me break the contract. Who are they? What do they want? That's spiritual people for you. They've turned spirituality into a racket, but I know all about scams, and there are people involved too. I want to tell them to be more cautious with those kinds of con artists. Think long and hard before making any decisions. Sort out calmly where the spiritual people are hurting you. Furthermore, in the first book I wrote that I had suggested to Anastasia that she come and appear on television herself, but she refused. At the time, I couldn't understand her reasons. Now what she'd foreseen had become clear. Even after the book came out, many interpretations of her statements. There were all kinds. There were interesting ones and debatable ones, but apart from everything else, I began to see the desire of individuals to interpret her in support of their own interests. There were even direct statements. Do you think you're the only one who has the right to talk to her? You don't understand everything. Let others communicate with her and more good will come of it. But she is not an object that can be transferred to someone. She's a human being. She herself has the right to decide how to act and with whom to speak and what about. It has become increasingly clear that a visible and invisible mass of dark forces has indeed assailed Anastasia in the form of fanatics and self-interest. Anastasia said, I know that a mass of dark forces is going to come crashing down on me, but I am not afraid of them. I will manage to give birth to and raise our son so that he can see what I have dreamed of, and people will be carried across the dark forces span of time. They raise their children to age 11. That means she can hold on for at least 10 more years. Returning to my conversation with Anastasia's grandfather, what about after that? Will she inevitably die?
It's hard to say. Everyone else has died significantly earlier, and she has gone down a path that has led to physical death more than once. But each time, at the last moment, a forgotten law, powerful in its priority, has blazed up, illuminating the essence of the truth of earthly being, and left her with life in her earthly body.
The old man fell silent and once again began meditatively scratching signs in the ground with his stick, I thought. I had to go and get mixed up in this story. Of course, I can't abandon it all now. Maybe before, but now I can't because of the child. Anastasia has given birth to our son. She should be dealing with the baby and raising him, but she still hasn't abandoned her dream of carrying people across the dark forces span of time. And she won't, because she's so stubborn. A woman like that won't. Who's to help this naive woman? If I stop doing what I promised her, then no one will be left at all. She'll go to pieces, something nursing mothers shouldn't do. Let her first wean the child. Is there anything I can do for Anastasia?
Try to understand what she says and wants. Then you'll have mutual understanding instead of casting about. A warm wave will warm your heart, and a new dawn will rise over the earth.
Could you be more specific?
It's hard for me to be more specific. Sincerity is important in a lot of things, so do what your heart and soul tell you.
She spoke of an out-of-the-way Russian town, as if it could be richer than Jerusalem and Rome, because of the many holy places of our ancestors in its vicinity. Apparently they are more significant than the temples of Jerusalem, but the locals' lack of awareness keeps them from seeing it. I want to go there and change that.
This can't be done quickly, Vladimir.
Well, I didn't know it was impossible, and I promised Anastasia I would. Now I need to change it somehow.
Since you don't know it's impossible, you will. Good luck, but it's time for me to go.
I'll see you off.
Don't waste your time. There's no need to see me off. Think about what you're doing.
The old man rose and held out his hand. I watched Anastasia's grandfather retreat down the lane and thought about my upcoming trip to Gelendzhik, recalling what Anastasia had said about it. Here is how the conversation about it began.
End of chapter. Join us for the next segment of The Ringing Cedars of Russia, Book 2 of the Ringing Cedars series, Your Holy Places, Russia, Part 1.